The neighbor got us. Hey guys, it's Manda Panda and welcome back to another custom My Little Pony video. Today we are going to be transforming Shining Armor into the creepy neighbor from the video game Hello Neighbor. It is really awesome. I actually just played for the first time about a week ago and I was like, oh my gosh, this would make the coolest pony. I started off by using a little bit of acetone to remove Shining Armor's original cutie mark and his eyebrows, and then I was able to twist that head off. Now, this particular Shining Armor doesn't have rooted hair. It just kind of has this like fluffy hair that reminds me of a troll doll, and it's just a strip that's glued on, and I'm just going to pull that up using my pliers, but that left a lot of residue. I'm using a little bit of acetone to loosen up all of the glue, and then I'm just gonna scrape off as much of it as I possibly can. Now that did leave a really big indentation in the head, but no worries, we'll get it fixed in a little bit. Now to prep the body, I'm just going to cut off the tail and then press in the rest using the tip of my scissors. Let's get started with the customization. So the neighbor doesn't have anything on his head, so I'm actually going to be removing Shining Armor's horn. So sorry about this, Shining Armor. I very carefully did that with an X-Acto knife, and there's just a little piece left here, so I'm gonna remove that too. Now let's fill in that huge indentation that was left when we removed the original pony hair. I'm gonna be using Sugru, which I've used in so many customs before. It is an air dry rubber, but you could always use air dry clay if you prefer that. For this step, I'm just gonna take a little bit of that Sugru, press it into the groove at the back of the head, smooth this out, and let the Sugru completely dry. It's been about 4 hours. This Sugru has completely set. It is completely hard. It is time to start painting. I'm actually just gonna mount this head at the end of a Q-tip to help me just rotate that head and paint it all at the same time without accidentally messing up my paint job by smudging it with my fingers. I'm using acrylic paint in the color Flesh Tone, and I did 4 coats of acrylic paint all over the entire head. Really quick, I'm going in with some white acrylic paint, gonna fill in the eyes and give him a nice big eye shape. Going in with a super dark green color, putting in the round eye, and then I'm gonna go in with some various lighter, brighter shades of green to really make these eyes pop. So this is like a bright green, same green I used when I make my custom Spike LPSs, and this is actually a really bright yellow. Going in with some black for his pupil, and then you can put some light reflections in the eye if you want to. I have actually mixed up a little bit of that flesh tone acrylic paint with a little bit of orange, and I'm just going to draw on his little mustache on his chin and give his eyebrows a little bit of definition. So I'm just going to draw a line right up the sides of his nose, arch it above his eyes, and then do a little one down at the bottom, and it just kind of gives his face a little bit of depth and kind of makes him look a little bit tired and a little bit creepy. This is the final detail on his face. I'm now going to take my top coat and put 2 layers to seal all of my work in. That top coat has now completely dried, and that slightly shiny finish it left behind is perfect for working with Sugru for the hair. So again, I'm just using some white Sugru. I'm gonna kind of warm it up in my hands so that way it can get nice and pliable and I can spread it very easily on the head. I'm gonna put a strip right down the middle of his head, and this is gonna be the base for his hair, and I'm gonna smooth it out just a little bit, but I don't want the Sugru to get too thin. I want to make sure it still has a little bit of thickness so you can see the texture and the dimension of his 3D hair. And I'm putting 2 more small pieces right along the sides underneath the ears. Now I'm taking one of my blunt tools and shaping his hairline. Gonna give him a deep V at the front and then some sideburns on the side. Now the front of his hair kind of has a little comb over, and I want to make sure that I get the height so it looks like his hair is actually just kind of combing over to the side. So I'm taking a long piece of sugru, laying it slightly to the left hand side, not right in the middle, just a little bit to the left, smoothing that down, and then using my tool to create a nice sharp part in his hairline. And this looks really awesome, and you see how that part is just slightly to the left, and that extra sugru really makes it look like there's extra hair going to the right side. It looks so awesome. I'm laying down this really thin piece that I'm gonna stretch out carefully and give him a little curly cue at the front for his little bang there. Using another tool, this one is a little bit sharp. I'm just gonna scratch in some texture of actual hair. So I'm just drawing in randomly some lines everywhere to really make it look like hair. More sugru for his eyebrows. Just gonna take a piece, smooth it down, and then shape it out. Same thing with his mustache. I kind of have these pieces that look like a comma, and I'm just going to place those on the nose, smooth those out, and if I need to, I can just cut away a little bit at the top to shape it out a little bit better. This sugru has now completely dried, and we can start the last part of this head, and that is painting the hair. I'm going in with a medium brown nail polish here, and I'm just going to completely cover the entire head of hair and his eyebrows and his mustache, but I'm not going to worry about going all the way down to the edges because I don't want to accidentally get this dark nail polish on the flesh toned skin because it's going to be kind of hard to cover up. So let's just get the dark brown in kind of like the middle area, and then for the edges I'm going to go in with a darker shade of brown, and using a fine paintbrush here I'm just going to edge the entire head of hair, eyebrows, and mustache. And this is really cool because it is really giving the hair a 3-dimensional effect with the 2 different colors. It's gonna look so awesome. That's it for the head. Let's get started on the body. There's gonna be a lot of steps here because his outfit has a lot of painting that's gonna need to be done. Starting off with that same flesh tone acrylic paint, I'm gonna paint the front legs and the chest. While that's drying, I'm gonna go in with this orangey reddish brown nail polish, and I'm gonna paint the back 2 legs and about half of his waist, and these are gonna be his pants. This is the perfect color. I put down 2 coats, let that completely dry. Now I'm going in with a slightly darker shade of that reddish brown and gonna just draw in some little pinstripes on his trousers here. And these stripes aren't perfect, but that's okay. They don't have to be. Using a little bit of nail striping tape, I have outlined the general area for his sweater. Gonna go in with this really pretty bluish purple acrylic paint. I'll put the name of all the paints used down in the description box below in case you want to make your own custom. And I just filled in that entire area in between all of the tape. Make sure that you take the tape off while the polish or your paint is still wet, so that way none of that paint pulls up. You don't want that to happen. Now it's time to start working on the print of his sweater, which is an argyle print. I started off by doing a cross right in the middle of the chest, and then I'm just gonna keep on drawing diagonal lines extending from that first cross all the way across his entire sweater, and then completely filling in the diamonds on every other row. And now I'm using a little bit of white and a fine paintbrush to draw a dotted line in between every single diamond. This looks really awesome. Oh, I love it. It looks so cool. Now, I want the edges of his sweater to be a little bit darker than the rest of his sweater, so I added a little bit of black to that original blue sweater color, and I'm just gonna go in and paint the edges. Let's peel this off and see what it looks like. Oh, that looks really awesome. It really looks like a collar or a neck on his sweater. I repeated that down at the bottom of his arms. Now I'm going in with some brown acrylic paint for his little curly chest hair, and he has a lot of it, so let's get all of that hair in. Now I'm gonna cover the entire body with 2 coats of my varnish, let that completely dry, and we can get started on the sugru areas. There's just gonna be a little bit of sugru on the body. I want the cuffs of his shirt and his collar to have that 3D effect from the sugru. Gonna press that down, smooth it out, edge it out with my little tool here, and then I actually want to make it look like these sleeves are rolled up and that they're crinkly and crimpled. So to do that, I'm actually gonna scrape out, hollow out just some random areas along this cuff, and the indentations are really gonna make it look like the cuff is folded up. It's gonna look so awesome. Gonna real quickly grab the rest of my sugru, wrap it around his neck for his shirt collar, and then edge that out. How awesome does that look? I hollowed out the bottoms so it can really look like a t-shirt popping out of that sweater. I laid down a little bit of nail striping tape for the end of his shirt sleeves. Gonna use this yellow nail polish from Sally Hansen and paint in his sleeves, and repeat this process on the other leg and use this same bright yellow for his collar. And in case you're wondering, I like to put the top coat and then the sugru because the shininess makes it easy to cut off the extra sugru. If not, it's kind of hard to scrape off when it's just acrylic paint. Now I've kind of mixed up this mustardy yellow color, and I'm gonna use it to highlight all of those folds in his sleeves. Lastly, we just need to give him some shoes. Using some black nail polish here, I'm just gonna paint the bottom of the hind legs with black since he does have some black shoes. Remove my nail striping tape to reveal that nice crisp line, and let that polish completely dry. Once it has, you could use some acrylic paint or nail polish, whatever you prefer, to draw on the details of his shoes. These are gonna look so awesome. I'm gonna let everything completely dry, then reattach the head to the body. Let's take a look at the completed custom. Here is the creepy neighbor from the game Hello Neighbor, and how awesome did this guy turn out? Off camera, I went ahead and gave him a tail of brown hair. If you want to know how to rehair the tail of a pony, all you gotta do is go check out my owlet pony video. I have step-by-step instructions there. And if you don't want a tail, you don't have to give him one. You could always fill in the tail hole with your sugru, or you can just sculpt him one using a sugru, but I think he came out so awesome like this. If you have an idea for my next custom, I would love to hear it, so let me know down in the comments below. I hope that you have enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching, little pandas. Until next time, bye! You can follow me online to get the latest news and updates. Like my Facebook page, facebook.com/MandaPandaToyCollector, or follow me on Instagram @MandaPandaToyCollector. Want to mail me something? Guess what? You can. Mail it to Manda Panda, P.O. Box 2855, Humble, Texas 77347.